Morning. How you doing today, Bill?
Doing pretty good. How you doing, Jim?
Doing good. Doing good. We were talking the other day after we talked to a couple other folks, and you made a description about the difference between tradesmen and architects when it comes to designing a product. I thought that was a great analogy. Would you mind going through that and elaborating?
Oh, not at all. I think one of the problems, and we talked about the other day in the software industry, is it's probably the only industry that assumes design and development is the same process or can be done essentially at the same time. So the analogy that I like to use is building a house. If you want to build a house, you go to a construction team. You get a general contractor, you hire plumbers, electricians, carpenters. They all work together, they build a house, but they don't design your house. If you want your house to be designed, you go to a different specialty, you go to an architect. And no builder would ever consider starting to build a house unless they had plans. And so you go to an architect, you get your plans built, you get them approved, and then you go to a builder and you have the builder build to those plans. And in software, the assumption, this strange assumption, is that you can do them at the same time. You can start building and design as you go, and then you'll end up with the house that somebody wants. And I think it's a fundamentally flawed concept.
Okay, how would you address that then, or how would you remedy that in terms of who's involved early in the design?
Well, in the design process, I think it's a very different set of skills, and that's another aspect of it, is that a designer and a developer is really putting a person, if they're trying to do both, they're wearing both hats. It's an unfair position to be in, that you have to design it and develop it. If you're responsible for developing it, would you design something that's hard to develop? So you can't think about both at the same time. You have to do one or the other. So I think it's a separate team. The team on a design project probably consists of an interaction designer, a visual designer. If you're building an actual physical product, you might have an industrial designer. You probably have content writers if you're doing something to the web. Those are four different disciplines, and specialists in each of those areas would be involved. None of them would necessarily build the product. When it comes to building the product, you'd hire computer science majors, you'd hire web developers, you'd hire a project manager, you might have networking or database specialists, IT involved. So they are like the architects and the builders. They're different disciplines, different people. You generally don't try to do both. Small teams, you might have to double up. The same person might be responsible for more than one thing, but I don't think you'd ever see people work on both sides of that equation.
Yeah, my experience putting together the data portfolio there at Nextel was I had to mitigate between groups. Everybody, sometimes the designers had great ideas. We had to help the business side understand the real value. Conversely, we sometimes had to get the designers to say, this is the business issue, stay here.
Right. Yeah,
anyway, this has been a really good conversation. I like that analogy. So thanks, and we'll be back with some other questions here in a little bit.